Rishi Sunak, the man with all the charm of a robotic mid-level accountant, has warned that dangerous times await for the UK. In a speech he stated that there are multiple threats of war, a global rise in immigration, and those seeking to undermine our shared values and identities was coming. Yes, Rishi, dangerous times are indeed coming, yet that's largely because of you and your party. I'll show you a clip from 10 years ago, sorry about the grainy quality, but this is a poll that was done on the BBC about whether multiculturalism is working in modern Britain.
Our vote, because you have been voting in the text and online vote today, so here is the result. Is multiculturalism working? Here is what you told us. 5% of those of you who voted said yes it is. 95% of those of you who voted this morning said no it isn't.
Now, as I say, this clip was 10 years ago on the BBC of all institutions with its massive liberal bias. And since then, has mass immigration and multiculturalism got better in any way? Of course it hasn't. The numbers that are coming in are even higher than 10 years ago. Multiculturalism is even more of a failure, with increasing enmity between different communities. And the worst thing is, there's nothing in the ballot box that will stop this. The Tories will just continue it, and the Labour Party will be even worse. In fact, they'll just deny it, like their favourite son Owen Jones does in the clip following on from the last.
Reaction to that vote result from Owen?
Well, fortunately, the actual scientific polling of people suggests that's not quite as pessimistic.
That's a good little leftist, Owen. Ignore the public and their opinions and tell them what they should think. The reality is that we're supposed to ignore the huge numbers coming in, the erosion of our culture, and scenes like this recently in London, which resembles something closer to Mumbai rather than Britain.
Mr. Sadiq Khan, see the situation of TFL. This is bus stop, Lido, hashtag green bus, and this is the situation of public.
Can you give respect to old ladies?
What TFL is doing, sorry.
And to make matters worse, this is all compounded by a woke ideology let in by the Tories too, which brainwashes young people into thinking they're somehow virtuous for believing a load of nonsense, as well as attracting some of the most psychotic people to stem a sane conversation. Everyone outside of the liberal bubble can see the insanity of this, even the Prime Minister of Singapore.
In the West, they got a movement called wokeness, where you are super sensitive about other people's issues, and you become hypersensitive when other people somehow or others say things or mention things or refer to you without the respect which you or your super subgroup feel you are entitled to. I'm about to say something which may be offensive to you. If you don't want to hear it, perhaps you'd like to leave now. And life becomes very burdensome. And I don't think we want to go in that direction. It does not make us a more resilient, cohesive society with a strong sense of solidarity. We must be more robust.
Now, many of these leftist metropolitan lovies are in for quite a rude awakening coming soon. The UK, which provides them the platform to spout their utter nonsense, isn't coming back very soon. They can keep hiding in their West London trendy lofts and their city offices in the home counties, but bit by bit, Britain is eroding and we're running out of places to run away to. The reality is that our leaders are complete traitors who will pose as your friend but serve only their own interests and the interests of the liberal authoritarians who essentially they work for. However, as I've said on this channel before, we have to welcome this decline, or even be positive about it, because it's only that which will lead to a reawakening of British and further European identity. Such people will probably have to join together in some way to stand up for traditional values in the face of relentless mass immigration and globalization. As per usual, it's not about hating anybody, it's just about wishing to maintain an ancient culture and ancient identity into the future for our children and their children. There is nothing evil about that in the slightest, no matter what they say. These are just my thoughts, however. Do let me know your thoughts below and do consider subscribing to the channel.